Welcome to the True Guy Globe Brief Updates. Subscribe and press the bell icon for updates. The headline was unexpected, catching the attention of families across South Korea. It wasn't about politics or business, but about a growing movement, one that would soon reshape the dreams of many parents and children. Seoul's educational escape. Why are Korean families choosing Cebu over Cambridge? The question echoed in living rooms and coffee shops, sparking curiosity and debate. Why would families leave the comfort and prestige of Korea's world-class education system for a small island in the Philippines? Families were leaving Korea's advanced economy for a tropical island in the Philippines. It wasn't just a vacation, it was a life-changing decision, a journey towards something different, something they hoped would be better for their children. Images showed smiling Korean children in sunny schoolyards, a stark contrast to Seoul's elite academies, where students often looked tired and burdened. The difference was striking: sunshine and laughter versus fluorescent lights and endless homework. This wasn't about chasing prestige, it was about escaping it. Parents began to realize that the relentless pursuit of academic excellence might be costing their children something far more valuable: happiness and peace of mind. Parents questioned if they were winning the wrong race, trading high pressure for a happier life. They wondered if the sacrifices made for top grades and elite schools were truly worth it, or if there was another way. They sought an education measured in laughter and connection, not test scores. In Cebu, learning was about curiosity, friendships, and growing up with joy, not just competition. South Korea's educational model, once hailed, was now critiqued for its relentless pressure. The late nights, the endless exams, the constant stress, parents began to see the toll it took on their children's well-being. The move to Cebu was a statement. A child's well-being might be more important than class rank. It was a bold choice, prioritizing mental health and family happiness over societal expectations. These families were pioneers, seeking a place where their children could simply breathe, play, and discover who they were outside the shadow of constant competition. It was a leap of faith away from a deeply ingrained cultural definition of success and toward a new vision, one where happiness, balance, and family came first. To truly understand the journey these families undertake to Cebu, it's important to first grasp the world they are leaving behind, a world shaped by South Korea's intense and demanding education system. In South Korea, education is not just a part of life, it is life itself. From a very young age, children are immersed in a culture of relentless academic pressure, where success in school is seen as the key to future happiness and stability. After regular school hours, most children attend private academies known as hagwons, where they spend countless extra hours cramming for the all-important exams that will determine their academic and professional futures. These after-school sessions often stretch late into the night, leaving little time for rest or play. The education system operates like a finely tuned machine, emphasizing memorization, rote learning, and fierce competition. For many students, childhood becomes a race, with little room for creativity, exploration, or relaxation. Unsurprisingly, this environment takes a toll. High rates of anxiety and depression are common among students, and South Korea's youth suicide rate is among the highest in the developed world. A sobering reflection of the immense pressure placed on young shoulders. Parents, too, are deeply invested, both emotionally and financially, in their children's education, often sacrificing personal time and resources to meet societal expectations and give their children every possible advantage. In stark contrast, Cebu offers a different approach. Here, the pace of life is slower, and schools focus on holistic development, nurturing not just academic skills, but also emotional well-being and a sense of community. Smaller class sizes and a curriculum that values creativity, collaboration, and critical thinking attract families searching for a healthier balance between achievement and happiness. Korean families making the move are not rejecting the importance of education itself, but rather the soul-crushing methodology that often comes with it. They hope their children will not only learn English and become globally competitive, but also have the chance to make friends, play, and enjoy a more well-rounded childhood. For these families, Cebu represents a middle ground, a place where children are nurtured as whole individuals, not just as students, and where education is about growth, happiness, and possibility. Hejin sat in the front seat of the taxi, glancing back at her son June, who stared silently out the window. The city outside was unfamiliar, the air thick with humidity and the sounds of a new world. She wondered what he was thinking, if he was scared or if he missed home already. As they arrived in Cebu, the city buzzed with life, jeepneys weaving through traffic, street vendors calling out, and the scent of the ocean in the air. Their journey had been long, filled with uncertainty, but now, the reality of their new life was settling in. Back in Korea, June's days blurred together. Early mornings, endless classes, and late nights hunched over textbooks. The pressure to succeed was constant, and the weight of expectations left him exhausted and anxious, with little time to simply be a child. The move to Cebu was more than a change of scenery. It was a desperate effort by Hejin to reclaim her son's lost childhood, to give him space to breathe and rediscover joy. Their first weeks in the Philippines were filled with doubt and struggle. Every trip to the market, every unfamiliar street, reminded them how far they were from home. They fumbled with language barriers and new customs, feeling like outsiders in a world that moved differently. June missed his father, who had stayed behind in Korea, and the comforting structure of his old life. He clung to video games and his phone, using them as a lifeline to the world he knew, even as loneliness crept in. The first day at his new school was overwhelming. The campus was open and bright, filled with students from all over the world. The diversity was exciting but intimidating, and June felt small and out of place among so many unfamiliar faces. Hejin often found herself standing on the balcony at night, questioning if she had made a terrible mistake. The responsibility weighed heavily on her, but she clung to hope, believing that this leap of faith would lead to something better. The school itself was unlike anything June had known. Colorful classrooms, students sitting in circles, laughter echoing through the halls. There were no rigid lines or strict uniforms, just a sense of freedom and creativity. June was used to clear rules and high expectations, and now the freedom he found was almost as frightening as the pressure he'd left behind. He struggled to find his place, unsure how to navigate this new world. Each day tested Hejin's resolve. She wrote in her journal at night, reminding herself why they had come, determined to see this journey through no matter how hard it became. Together, mother and son stood at the window, looking out over the city lights. Hejin had staked her family's happiness on this new path, holding June's hand tightly, hoping that in this unfamiliar place, they would find the better future she dreamed of. June's first weeks in Cebu were a study in silent observation. Used to lectures, he found the interactive, group-based learning a culture shock. Mrs. Reyes, his teacher, focused on June as a person, not just a student. The teaching style emphasized critical thinking and collaboration over memorization. June's excitement grew as he engaged in hands-on projects, like building ecosystems. This approach broke down his walls, teaching him that failure was part of learning. The kindness of the local culture permeated the school, with welcoming peers and patient teachers. June learned that education could be nurturing, not just competitive. The environment taught him empathy, teamwork, and resilience. Hejin saw her son thrive in this new setting, embracing a different kind of education. It was a lesson in humanity, valuing the whole child over academic achievement. June's transformation began with a silent conversation over soccer with Miguel. Their daily ritual of kicking a ball became a bridge to friendship. Hejin, initially feeling like an outsider, found connection at a school event. She bonded with Miguel's mother, Maria, over shared experiences and hopes. June's friends helped him overcome anxiety, turning challenges into team efforts. These connections taught June empathy, teamwork, and resilience. Hejin learned to trust in the kindness of strangers, finding community in Cebu. Small acts of kindness wove them into the fabric of their new home. They came for the schools, but stayed for the people, discovering belonging beyond test scores. A sense of community proved more valuable than any academic achievement. As months passed, Hejin saw her son transform into a confident, happy child. June's laughter and curiosity mattered more than grades. Hejin questioned her lifelong definition of success, realizing its hollowness. Conversations with local mothers shifted her perspective on parenting. They valued happiness and well-being over academic achievement. Maria's wisdom struck Hejin. What is the point of a smart mind if the heart is not kind? Hejin embraced a new definition of success, focusing on joy and connection. Success was June teaching his father Cebuano, enjoying simple moments. The greatest gift was a childhood filled with joy and the freedom to be himself. The gamble paid off, offering a life more meaningful than expected. Hejin and June were part of a growing Korean community in Cebu. Korean families shared stories of escape and rediscovery, forming a support network. They were refugees from a pressure cooker, seeking healthier lives. Minjun's mom reclaimed her son's childhood, choosing surfing over worksheets. A father found work-life balance, becoming present for his family. These families were unlearning competitive instincts, celebrating small victories. They organized outings, building community on shared experiences. They valued time and connection over material success. The Exodus was a fundamental reevaluation of life's priorities. They were proof that a different way of living was possible. The community thrived on connection, not competition. The move to Cebu reshaped the Korean family blueprint. In Seoul, family life revolved around academics, but in Cebu, it was about being together. Hejin and June created new rituals, deepening their relationship. Conversations shifted from grades to dreams and stories. June's father was amazed by the transformation, finding laughter and connection. Parents became guides, involved in emotional lives, not just academics. The slower pace allowed for spontaneous moments of connection. Families valued emotional intelligence as much as intellectual intelligence. The multicultural environment taught invaluable life skills. A strong, loving home life was the best foundation for true success. What do parents truly want for their child? A life of titles or one of joy? Korean families in Cebu are part of a global movement questioning hyperparenting. Their journey shows that a child's happiness is a necessity, not a luxury. The image of a laughing Korean child under the sun symbolizes this shift. Parents are expanding ambitions, valuing kindness and resilience. Hejin and June's story reflects this larger movement, valuing humanity over rank. They traded high-pressure certainty for connection and growth. The Exodus to Cebu is a story of hope and brave parents listening to their children. The most important lessons are learned outside the classroom. Raising a happy, well-adjusted child is the greatest achievement of all.